three things you can vote for. Well, what about if you extra customers? Or do you want to know? No, we don't. We're going to just do them in threes. Toastmasters, they do not have the right things, so what people must do is I'm going to make it in threes. Each person will get three things. You're going to see first speaker, second speaker, all sorts of crazy things. Just write speaker, evaluator, table topics.
There you go.
Take out the one, okay, so cross them out to make it so you can vote.
Sure.
Hearing and I'm walking at the same time. You got enough now? Okay. Still going to cross out.
This camera is not obvious.
No. Elias, you are a small bag. You're in our house.
No,
You're a small bag.
you heard
You
how
smell like a dog.
you heard how you treat me. You just heard how you treat me, so it's getting up here.
Hang with the man in the fees and
Thank you, Tambu. Thank you, Sandra, for assisting with the 14 slip. On your 14 slip, there is stuff that you will see there are going to be maybe a little changes. So maybe the top one where it says first speaker, we will vote for the best speech. So and then we're going to have the best impromptu speech, which is the second one, and then on your third, let's put best evaluation or the best evaluator.
so we need three. We need three. Three
Three
votes.
votes. The other important thing on my role today is to introduce the role players. Now I would like to invite some people that are going to be participating in very important roles in Toastmasters meetings. Our timekeeper, Annie, can you tell us about your role? What's going to be your role?
Hi everybody. My job is to help prepared speakers, impromptu speakers and evaluators keep on track for a 4 to 6 minute speech. At 4 minutes the light will be green, at 5 minutes yellow, at 6 minutes red. For a 5 to 7 minute speech, at 5 minutes the light will be green, 6 minutes yellow, 7 minutes red. For evaluators, at 2 minutes green, 2.5 minutes yellow, 3 minutes red. And table topics, impromptu speakers, 1 minute green, 1.5 minutes yellow, 2 minutes red. Good luck.
Thank you very much, Anne. Our second role, valuation chair, that's gonna be her.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. As evaluation chair, I will introduce the evaluators and I will run the evaluation session generally. We sometimes have a evaluation of the meeting. We won't be having that today. Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you. Our table topics master, Lusanda, will you tell us here about your role?
Thank you, Toastmaster. This is my favourite part of Toastmasters by a long shot. This is where you get to learn how to think and speak on your feet. And today, well, we've got a very interesting theme for the day, so it's made me really have to think about the kind of topics I'm going to give you, and I'm sure going to get you moving. So, it's an exciting time of the day, and I look forward to the table topics, which is to get you, especially if you've never done it before, it's time to get up and to try to stretch you, challenge you a little bit, just to improve your ability to speak off the cuff.
Think and speak and stand in. That is the one role I always have. Lusanda, please don't come to me today.
You say.
I can't just think and talk there. You know, I want to prepare myself. Our next role player, our counter, Olisa, please can you tell us about your role?
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. My name is Oliswa. I will be your counter today. My role is to listen to all the speakers and make note of words and sounds used as pulse figures, and too often or repeated by anyone who speaks during the meeting, such as am, are, so, well, and. The intent is not so much to catch speakers using figures, but more to help them aware of catch words that they may be using out of habit, and that may take away from the impact of their public speaking. Thank you.
Thank you, Olisa. Our last but not least, role player, grammarian, Mandy, please can you tell us what is grammarian all about?
Thanks, Toastmaster. I am your grammarian today. The role of the grammarian is to listen to the speakers impromptu and prepare and have a look for the good use and the bad use of the English language. I will be giving a report later today and perhaps suggestions on how you could have made better use of the English language. The other role, my other role, is to introduce a word of the day. This is just to help you stretch yourselves in acquiring a new word for your vocabulary, or to remember an old word that you could perhaps use. The word I've chosen is reciprocate. It's a verb. One way to use it is the favor was reciprocated, so it's like using a gesture or an action. So I encourage you to use the word. I will also be making notes of who used the word. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mandy. I really appreciate that. The theme, the facts about fleas, facts about the ticks and fleas. Almost cat and dogs, they carry fleas. You may not be able to see them, but they are there, growing silently on your pet and in your carpets, multiplying in their thousands. If you are not aware of that, then here are the facts about ticks and fleas. There are parasites that they daily basis on your animal, especially pets, your dog or your cats, falling drunken and falling into the gutter because they can't hold their weight after they have been feeding on your pets. They continue this hedonistic cycle until they die. Fleas, on the other hand, they come uninvited in your homes, empty-handed. They will eat out of your own home or household. They will irritate you. They will irritate your dogs. The only way that you will live is to make sure you prevent and you protect your animals from ticks and fleas. We will continue talking about this, about the facts about ticks and fleas. I will be moving over. I know that I'm not sure there's a role that I think today is not going to be in, which is a toast. I don't know that today we're not toasting. Maybe we don't have a wine. I don't know. I didn't receive that name. But anyway, we will continue with our meeting. On the theme of the day, did you know that there are over 3,000 species of flies, of fleas in the world? And there are over 800 species of ticks. Think about it. If we got this number, or how they will affect your animals. Now we are gonna go to the prepared species. That's why we are here. We want to hear people delivering this prepared species, and we learn from the toast masters. Our first speaker of the day is going to be Lusanda. Lusanda will be giving us the presentation mastery icebreaker, and that is going to be breaking point. And I think, as I say, that the evaluators, I'm not sure that they do have it. Okay, please can you give us the objectives?
So Lucinda is not new to Toastmasters, she's experienced, but with the new pathways, we all have to go through a process of where we start from the beginning in each of the pathways. So her icebreaker today is called Breaking Point, and the purpose of it is, the purpose of this project is for the member to introduce him or herself to the club and learn the basic structure of a public speech. Her speech is 4 to 6 minutes long.
Thank you. Let's welcome Lusanda with the title Breaking Point. Lusanda.
Toastmaster, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to think about the scene in the movie Basic Instinct. It is Sharon Stone with ice held on a counter, and she's got an ice pick in her hand. And she's hacking at that ice at quite a speed. Number one, it was quite sexually quite a sexual moment she was having, because that's the movie, but also brought up a lot of anxiety as she hacked at that ice. She was chipping fast. And if I asked any of you right now to do the same thing, you'd 10 to 1. You'd end up in the closest emergency room. That's how fast and what skill she had in breaking ice. We use the word icebreaker in Toastmasters as we do in corporate. There are a lot of places we use this word, these two words together. Icebreaker. It brings up a lot of fear in a lot of people's minds. Now I'm in a room, and now I'm being pushed, almost being made to bungee jump or leap into the deep end. But I'm terrified because it is a scary moment. Whoever created icebreaker, I'm not too sure. I first want to bring up the whole thing of ice. What is ice? Here it is. Ice only exists. It's water in this form when it hits freezing point. This is when it becomes ice. Now there are positives for this form of ice. Things like those beautiful ice sculptures that you see. If you've ever been overseas to Switzerland, you'll see those beautiful sculptures. They are glorious and beautiful. This can be used for acute sports injuries. If you really have hurt yourself, you're bruising, been a bad injury in life, you put it on your skin. It takes the pain away. But it does hurt. There is some pain involved. Ice on your skin is sore. Another thing is, right outside, I went and stole the ice for the tennis players. Sports people use this in their drinks. Some crazy people enough like chewing on ice, which can actually maybe even break your teeth. Some people even suck on the ice, I don't know how, because there's something called a brain freeze that you get when you touch this thing called ice. It is not particularly pleasant if I make you hold on to it. The one thing I can tell you is you can see it's melting. I'm holding it. And with warmth, ice melts. And you know your body, officially, 60% of your body is made up of water. Water is exceptionally important. It's almost become gold. If we look at our country right now, it's actually seen as gold. It's really important to us to survive. Animal species, plants, and humans, we need water to live. We can live without food, but we cannot live without water. That we know without a fact. Water can be also hydrotherapy. So water's got a lot of important things come into water, the whole state of water. Now if we take water and we warm it up, we heat it up, we end up with things like hot water bottles. This is very nurturing for us. This is healing for us. The heat. Not too hot, we're going to burn. But when we were born, when we were a little fetus in our mother's womb, we were warm, we were in a fluid sac. And then we came out into this world, and it was cold and it was harsh. We had no more that protection and nurturing that we had when we were cuddled up in our mother's womb. And so with a heated pack, when we're feeling a bit low, we're feeling insecure, we're feeling vulnerable, we look for warmth. We look for things like milk. We look for those things that our mother would have given us when we were little, what we were looking for. And I want to take this into life. In life, we have choice in every time. How are we going to respond? How are we going to react? But in all reality, these three states is how we will operate. On normal, we are like a glass of water. We like this. And then if situations hit us hard, we go in a situation of abuse or pain, conflict. What happens is we turn to ice. We put up the walls. We create a prison around us. We get barbed wire around us. We don't want people near. They might hurt us. And so we enter a realm of being like ice. We are so terrified of being hurt, we push everybody away. Then what happens is, if someone would just give us a loving hand, some warmth, an open heart, we can start thawing, trusting again, believing that someone loves us and cares enough, and then we can become like water again. We can become agile, mutable. We can start moving around, trusting, mingling, coming to a place like Toastmasters, coming out of that ice zone into a warmer zone. And then what happens is, once we start healing, once we start believing in ourselves and feeling that there is love around us, we then can start helping heal other people too. And that's the beauty about this cycle I wanted to bring you today. In life, a good choice whether you want to be an ice block, you want to just be average water, or you want to be a hot, beautiful, warm, healing space for others. So, for me, if I look at the thing, the word's called icebreaker, I would maybe look at ice melter, something else, because icebreaker is harsh, it breaks. Then we go into melting, and then we go into healing. And I think the icebreaker is a very hard terminology as I start at the beginning of my speech. We sit with contraction versus expansion. We contract or we expand. And in the world, it's better to live around and be with people who are in expansion phase. And for me, this Toastmaster journey, being in Toastmasters, has shown me I don't need to be ice block. I can actually get out, mingle, network, be part of Toastmaster family, and get beyond the whole thing of icebreaker and actually be the speaker that I want to be.
Wow, Sandra, that was great. I was asking myself, you know, about your topic, like breaking point. You know, I was all over thinking, breaking point. What is this going to be talking about? But now it's clear. It's clear. It's clear. It's clear. I love it. Thank you for that. According to Frontline, which is a Mariel company that is based in London, the female flea lies about 2,000 eggs during her life for only 10 months. That is the eggs that the female flea can lie. Just imagine 2,000 eggs in your road, or in your home, on your pets. The average of that is between 27 to 45 eggs a day. I don't want to scare yourself, but I want you to be aware about these facts. Ticks can produce from 2,000 to 20,000 eggs. Not surprisingly, after this hard work, they die. After all this hard work, between 2,000 to 20,000 eggs. After they work so hard, they die. They don't even see their babies. Can you just imagine? But anyway, ticks can survive for over 20 months without food. That's a fact. And we can't spend just a morning without breakfast. But anyway, those are facts about ticks and fleas. You can Google it, you will find that's a true fact. But we are here to listen to our speakers. We are here to listen to people that they want to change their life. Our next speaker is, I don't know, I'm going to pronounce your name nicely. Andre Fenton. The evaluator is going to be is Audrey Mpela. And with the title Mind the Gap, please can you assist us with the objectives of this speech?
Certainly. Andrea will be speaking from Pathway Dynamic Leadership, Pathway Level 2. The purpose of this speech is, the purpose of this project is for the member to identify his or her primary leadership style or styles. The purpose of this speech is for the member to share some aspect of his or her primary leadership style or discuss leadership styles in general. All the best. Your time.
Let's welcome Andre. Oh, sorry.
Your time is 5 to 7 minutes.
Let's welcome Andre with the title Mind the Gap. Andre.
What makes a good leader? Feedback? Anybody? What makes a good leader?
Leading by example.
Leading. So I have to write this down because when I'm up here I always forget. Okay? So I'm writing these down. Leading by example, correct? Next.
Connection.
Okay. Vision. Connection.
Good communicator.
Anything else?
Motivation,
Motivation. What kind of motivation?
that you're going to get people to do what you're,
Okay.
motivate them to
Anything
be
else?
leaders.
Fellowship. You need to have people following you.
Fellowship. Okay.
Listening. Skills.
Listening. Okay.
One word is integrity.
Integrity. I love that.
Big stick.
Big stick. Ability to influence. Influencer. Okay, that's a couple. Okay. Leadership has been defined as the process through which a person influences and motivates others to get involved in the accomplishments of a particular task. This single definition, although universally accepted, fails to define the particular paths and ways of people who are deemed as great leaders. All great leaders have something unique, and yet they are bound by greatness that help them to lead the masses, your fellowship, okay, to innovation and new ideologies. Since the oldest of times, people have been led by efficient leaders. Great leaders start as efficient leaders. I am a lover of history, and this month has been a very interesting month because obviously it's been voting month. Whether we like the results or not, we have those that have voted, cast your vote. So I took a chance to go back in history and look at great leaders. Leaders that I thought had made an influence in the world. And I started with people, I did my test, I looked at the names that came through: altruistic, bureaucratic, pace setting, I can't remember all the other names, there were a couple, okay, coaching, motivational. And I looked at leaders that I could identify with. And I started with Mahatma Gandhi. Mahatma Gandhi, and I'd like to just read a small excerpt here, okay, was an ordinary boy with a determination to excel at what he did. After completing law from London, he became the most important part of the Indian freedom struggle against colonial rule. He saw the gap to influence those around him with his non-aggressive, passive resistance. He saw the gap. Then I moved forward and thought, who else could I look? He was an altruistic leader. He looked at serving the people as a leader. Then I looked at Abraham Lincoln. Abraham Lincoln was great in the American history. He was at the time of the Civil War. He took the opportunity to unite North and South in the Civil War, and at the same time I'm looking for the phrase that I looked at. At the same time, he seized the moment to eradicate slavery from the Union of the United States. He was an affiliative leader. He was joining and combining people together. Okay. I then looked at Adolf Hitler. Most of us know Hitler. Okay. Adolf Hitler was a charismatic dictator. Correct? He had great communication skills. He had great strategic skills. He took the gap and successfully invaded more than 10 countries with his brilliant strategy, meticulous planning, and great oratory skills. So communication very definitely counts. Then I looked at one or two other leaders. I looked at Julius Caesar. I went all the way back in history. Julius Caesar. Julius Caesar is well known why? He spread the Roman Empire. How did he spread the Roman Empire? When people were fighting in politics, he rode in there and he united the people through his authoritarian style and took over the world. He used his strategy, his great military prowess to go and rule the world. Then I looked at someone controversial like Fidel Castro. Fidel Castro was the leader of the Cuban Revolution. He was the president of Cuba from 1976 to 2008. He was called upon to stand in the gap to defend Cuba during the many crises, invasions, and assassination attempts. Okay? His traits of courage, strategy, hiring the right people, very important as a leader, okay? And dissemination of duties made him the leader he was. And then one of my all-time favorites, who I like to quote very frequently, Winston Churchill. His tenure as the British Prime Minister was a stopgap. When Neville Chamberlain failed as the leader during the Second World War to make decisions, he stepped in and was that calm, stabilizing voice on the radio that kept the British nation focused on their objective of beating the Germans. He was known for his unyielding perseverance and commitment to the goal. Can you give me a few names of other leaders that inspire you today?
Nelson Mandela.
Nelson Mandela. I left him out because I knew I'd get one. Anyone else?
Martin Luther King.
Martin Luther King.
Mahatma Gandhi.
He was on my list.
Yes.
Okay, I wasn't listening too well.
Okay.
Sorry.
So, where have you last noticed a credibility gap in your life that you are able to step up and lead? Mr. Toastmaster?
Wow. She left us with Charlie. We have to get out there to be good leaders. Harold, someone's going to be running for president here in the club. After this talk, someone's going to be running for that. It's not me though.
I'm looking at you.
Thank you, Andrea, for that. It's really motivating, and I don't know what to say. But the facts about ticks and fleas. Although ticks can pose danger in any time of the year, they are more common during the warmer months when humidity is high. Fleas can lie in and wait over 8 months for a host. 8 months. They can just sit and stay in one place and waiting for the host to walk past, and they will jump in. And they are going to be either your cat or your dog. They want to irritate your dog. But being said that, they are going to cause another problems. Fleas are responsible for transmitting a flea tapeworm, and can cause anemia. They can cause cat scratch diseases, which is the part of the skin. They can cause bacteria and viral infections, and lastly, allergic reactions. You're going to spend lots of money trying to treat these problems. It's better to prevent. That is the facts about ticks and fleas. Our next speaker is gonna take us again to another, I don't know, 2 speakers already, they've motivated me. I don't know which one I should follow. But let's get going. Our next speaker, Charlotte, she's gonna be presenting her speech. Is it presentation mastery? PL4, managing a difficult audience. And the head topic is gonna be choice as a value in change. The evaluator is going to be Lusanda. Please, Lusanda, can you give us the opportunities of the speech?
Charlotte's speech will be not according, please, that is incorrect on the actual, on your sheet over here. It is a speech length of 10 to 15 minutes.
No, it's not.
On here it says 10 to 15.
Because of the interruptions, but the actual speech is usually 5 to 7.
Okay, then do we need to time
Doesn't matter, it will be anything between 5 and 10.
Okay,
I'm hoping it won't be more than 8.
okay. So there you go. I haven't done this particular evaluation before. Just going to get it on my
Are
phone
we
here.
allowed to heckle?
Huh?
No, it's been predetermined.
Okay, so her title is Choice as a Value in Change. Her objectives, things to look for when you are voting, or everyone here is basically evaluating because you're voting. You're voting for a best speaker. So things to look out in a speech, because that is fair to know exactly what I'm looking for as an evaluator as well. And it gives you a kind of a nice bird view of what I'm looking in her speech, is for her to practice the skills needed to address audience challenges when she presents outside of the Toastmasters clubs. So she will be doing a 5 to 7 minute speech on any topic and practice responding to 4 audience member disruptions. So have fun. Do disruptions. So some of us are quite good at that. The speech may be new or previously presented. You do not evaluate the speech or the speech content. That is very important to remember. Your evaluation is based on the member's ability to address and diffuse challenges presented by these 4 audience members. Did people re-choose your people that go to objections?
Toastmaster, I'm not supposed to know.
Okay, have you
Toastmaster
chosen
is
4
appointed.
people?
Yes, I've chosen 4 people.
Okay.
So they know their roles, how they are going to be getting in. I send them the guidelines. So when she does, and then you can get in, but give her a chance also to continue with the speech.
Watch
So
for her
don't
professional
continue forever.
behavior, very important. Respectful interactions with audience members and the use of strategies to refocus the audience on the member's speech. And that is it. She has 10 to 15 minutes, but the actual speech will be 5 to 7 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's welcome Charlotte with her speech, Choice as a Value in Change. Charlotte.
Choice as a value in change. Toastmaster, ladies and gentlemen, imagine revolutionizing conflict resolution. Imagine building and banking relationship capital.
Charlotte, can you speak a little bit louder? I can't.
Certainly, thank you for that. Can you hear my voice better?
That's better.
Thank you. Am I projecting?
Yeah.
Thank you, valuable. Imagine transforming your thinking for success and power. What would the results be? Inspired innovation. Relationships built in absolute trust. And confidence par excellence. Why would this be important to us?
I'm sorry. Sorry.
Would you like some water?
Oh, yes, please.
Do you know the interruptions is once you've been addressed, you're supposed to stop.
Oh, okay.
Once it's been addressed adequately.
Okay, thank you very much.
Forget my back. What would be the reason that any one of us would even consider revolutionizing conflict resolution, building and banking relationship capital, or transforming our thinking for success and power?
But when if you're doing conflict resolution, you don't even know what you're entering into. So how can you revolutionize it?
I'm about to share that with you. Very good point. Thank you. Very good point. We have a secret to be unveiled shortly. It has been published by Flux Trends. In South Africa, occupational health costs us 40 billion a year in our economy. That is stress. Occupational health is stress in the office. It's depression. It's the cost of conflict to an organization. 40 billion. Do you think we need change, ladies and gentlemen?
How do you get to this 40 billion?
Published by Flux Trends.
Yeah, but how do they get to it? I mean, you can't just tell me published by Flux, whatever.
If you would like, I'll give you the quote afterwards and the link for them, with pleasure. If anybody else would like it, I'll send you the link. Does that answer your question?
No, but carry on.
Do you know once you've had it addressed, you're not supposed to keep doing the same thing?
Really?
Yes. Instructions.
But until it's resolved, you can't resolve it.
Exactly. When we resolve and we stay stuck, beautiful point, when we stay stuck in discomfort of change, how do we change? How do we revolutionize conflict? We stay in this place of absolute discomfort. It's a cycle. Stress stays there. Depression stays there. Everything that you are always looking to change stays in this space. But imagine having a vision that takes you beyond this space into what is possible. Imagine that.
How's a vision going to help you? A vision's a vision. It's not practical.
Einstein reminds us, to answer your question, Einstein reminds us we cannot solve problems with the same thinking that created them.
I agree, but that's not a vision. Einstein said nothing about a vision.
When you create your vision, what is your vision? Share with us, what is your vision?
I'm a logical person. I don't use vision.
Do you dream for your children?
No. I guide and educate them.
Guide and educate? What is the reason you would guide and educate them?
So that they can do the best of themselves, but there's no vision
Beautiful. That is
there.
beautiful.
I'd like to put them in a princess castle. That's a vision. It ain't going to happen.
How do you make the vision happen? How do you make the education happen?
They'll
for
have to
them?
marry a prince and they need to be a princess. in the end.
Thank you. Exactly the reason. How do we unpack a vision? How do we change from the discomfort of our thinking and lacking the ability to change? How do we create a vision? By action. We take tiny steps of action. Imagine relationships that are solid, filled with trust. Imagine exciting, transformational thinking. And imagine building confidence in cases of resolution.
To what extent, you mentioned Einstein, what really drove him? Was it curiosity? What do you think?
I have no idea. Very good point. I'll Google for you. Professor Google.
Did he have a chauffeur? Did he have a chauffeur?
Einstein's dead, by the way.
Forbes quotes that if every single one of you wants to change your life from a leadership perspective and be a leader, their quote is very valid. Leadership of the future starts with each of us. And that implies a fundamental fact of knowing who you are, of being able to sit in the discomfort and choose a vision that you can create something different. The fundamental reality for any leadership today is how to manage change without a shadow of a doubt, and how to innovate. At 40, the cost of 40 billion a year in South Africa, do you really think your mindsets in this space is going to get you where you want to go?
Well, I think the role of leaders is to keep things the same so people can be comfortable. This discomfort is no good.
Causes chaos in an office, insecurity.
Exactly.
I agree.
Exactly.
What would be the reason that you would want to stay in comfort? Valid points.
It's more
Because the
comfortable.
discomfort is part of the change.
It's more comfortable to be in comfort.
And what is the reason you would choose comfort?
To be more comfortable.
Your staff are more, if your staff are comfortable knowing what to expect every day, rather than coming into a stressful situation every tomorrow and not knowing what to expect, you don't get the performance out of them if they're not comfortable. Whereas, yes, they might get lazy, but it's your job to keep them motivated. But you can motivate them without making them feel uncomfortable or insecure, because that's what change does. It makes people feel insecure.
Very valid. They've got to be comfortable in their working environment, but how do you know that their performance may or may not be where they're comfortable if you want to excite and inspire innovation? So we create a comfortable space for them to be innovative. Very good as a leader. But the danger when you stay in your comfort zone is that you never get to step into something new. So a prerequisite for leadership going forward, don't externalize your life. Because then you surrender and become part of the 40 billion. You don't step into the space of who you are meant to be. And I hear everyone say, oh, it's going to cost me an absolute fortune. How do I change my mindsets from there to there? And it's like, oh my word, no, I don't have the time. I've heard it all before. We make those excuses every single day. Imagine if you could do it in less than 10 minutes a day. Show of hands, how many of you would do it if you could do a change of mindset in less than 10 minutes?
Is there an age limit?
Most definitely not. Neurogenesis and neuroplasticity proves to us that you can change this.
So, being 75, I've still got a chance, have I?
100%.
Thank you.
100%. There are 5 factors that feed neurogenesis, up or down.
Need to learn more about that.
On that note, thank you.
Yes.
If you could do it for under 25 bucks a day, what would you do? Yes or no?
Yes.
I created in my darkest discomfort, crawling on the floor in depression because I did not know why I had to go through this burnout. But I knew there was a purpose. I said, show me my purpose. And I got it. My weakness, my strength, played between the two, and I created a tool for humanity to change their mindsets in less than a few minutes a day and shift with coaching into more people's hands, the people who want to change their lives, who do not want to be part of the 40 billion. Do you want to be part of the 40 billion?
Talking to you.
Do you want to be part of the 40 billion?
Oh.
Is that a yes? No. Would you like to incite innovation within yourself? Because you have not even tapped into what else is still possible for you. There is so much more. Who would like change? This is not change. Who would like change? Make your choice a value for change.
very much for that. Wow. This I chose the wrong day to be Toastmaster, because now I don't know. Sorry, Rosanda. I think she really. I thought you gave me the best speech. Now I'm But thank you for that. It was really amazing. I learned something. When you sent that WhatsApp, I went through it and I didn't get exactly what she's talking about. But when I spoke to you this morning, I went, oh, now it's getting clear and clear. And thank you for the other members that they were involved or participated on her speech in a short notice, because I asked everyone to be involved this morning. Recently, more specific compounds such as fepronol, which is one of the compounds that is discovered that they can make frontline or frontline plus or frontline spray to make sure that they control or they prevent ticks and fleas from your dogs. It is very important when you work or you try to prevent these dangerous parasites that you don't only deal with your pets, you must also deal with the environment. They can just stay in your environment. They can stay on your furniture. Can stay in your carpet. And then come back and start sucking the blood from your pets. Sometimes including you. And they irritate you. Our next speaker, Audrey Pella. She's going to be giving us the levels PR manual, ACB 7, and the topic is going to be Toastmasters will always need a place to meet. And the evaluator is Andre. Please, can you give us the objective?
So Audrey's following the legacy program on the Advanced Communicator Bronze. She is doing the crisis management speech. The purpose of the speech is to learn strategies for communicating to the media about a company crisis, prepare a speech for the media about a company crisis that builds and maintains a positive image for the company, answer questions from the media in a manner that reflects positively for the company. Audrey's speech time will be 4 to 6 minutes for the speech, and then a further 3 to 5 minutes for a question and answer period. Because Audrey is working from an advanced manual, she'll be getting a dual evaluation from me. She'll be getting a content evaluation from me and a delivery and presentation evaluation from Leon. Okay.
Thank you. Let's welcome Audrey with the title, The Toastmaster Will Always Need a Place to Meet. Audrey.
Statistics, according to Forbes.com and I, reveal that 90% of all billionaires become so through real estate investing. Examples: through rentals, buying or selling property. Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters and guests, with technology advances taking over employment and perhaps the future use of toilet paper, one thing you can be certain of is that technology will not be taking away your need to have a roof over your head. Will Rogers, a successful real estate investor once said, don't wait to buy real estate. Buy real estate and wait. That is the only time the saying that says, good things comes to those who wait works. For every other time you have to get your butter from the duck. So you better get cracking because time waits for no man. But before you rush and spend all your hard-earned cash and invest into property in the hopes of becoming a successful real estate investor like Will Rogers, Robert Kiyosaki, and Donald Trump, I must warn you, it's not always milk and honey. You win some and you lose some. In fact, the best time to buy property was before the elections. Because after the elections, property prices are expected to rise and increase and increase and increase. That will make it difficult for individuals to qualify for a bond. Over and above that, the interest rates will increase. Electricity and water rates will increase. And the cost of food and fuel remains high. But you have nothing to worry about because I have founded a company called Leading Tune Pty Limited about 9 years ago. Only in the past 3 years, we have managed to focus our services on the property investment industry, and we've been able to help investors gain proper property in profits from their investments. If you work with us, we've tried a few tricks, tools and techniques that will help you rise above the economic crisis. We've only been working on it for about 3 years, so we don't know it all. But what we have applied so far has worked for us. Beating inflation is like going up an escalator that is going down. And we have managed to do that. If our economy was like an escalator moving down, our aim is to go up that escalator and reach to the top so we can be above inflation. Some of the things that we have applied in our strategies. It's not all doom and gloom. If you missed your opportunity to buy property before the election, you can still buy property after the elections. What you can do is buy your property with that high interest rate. What happens then is 6 months or 12 months later, you can apply for a rate review so that your interest rate can be reduced. Or instead of spending that 350 rands every weekend eating out a restaurant, or that 1,000 rand that subscription of your DSTV, you can take that money and invest it in your property, which will reduce your long-term money that you need to pay that back. And the South African Reserve Bank have decided to reduce the rate, to keep the lending rate at 10.5%, and they don't aim to increase the interest rate more than once this year. If you do your homework, you can still beat inflation. And we all know that property is the best investment that you can invest in. As Will Rogers said, don't wait to buy real estate. Buy real estate and wait. Irrespective of the crisis, you have companies like LinkedIn that can help you move from point A and point B. And the most important part is that Toastmasters will always need a place to meet. So don't wait to buy real estate. Buy real estate and wait. Buy real estate so that Toastmasters can have a venue to meet. Mr. Toastmaster. Oh, your Q&A.
Q&A.
It's a Q&A.
Oh, there's cute.
Yes.
I have a son, lives just around the corner from me in Douglasdale. He's planning to emigrate to Canada. He's trying to set up a business there. He's got a house worth 4 or 5 million rand. What should he do?
He's got
Got a house here.
He's got a house here.
Okay.
And he wants to sell it.
All right.
Could you help him in any way there?
Yes. It will try to find out his reasons for selling, and we could either advise him whether to sell it or to rent it out.
Okay, he'd be leaving to emigrate to Canada around about July, not this year, next year.
Yes, he can either sell or rent it out.
Is it residential or commercial real estate you're talking about?
Residential. Residential. Any other question?
Okay. Audrey, so you,
Yes. Yes, Mr. Area Director.
We all know that there's land expropriation.
Yes.
What impact would that have on property generally?
All right, so when you buy property, you get a title deed. So that title deed would belong to you. So depending on the type of property that you buy, if you buy in a sectional title deed, all you own is the inside of the house, and the outside is owned by body corporate. But when you buy your full title deed, you would own the land and the house. However, the municipality also has a certain ownership on that land, due to the fact that they've got pipes running under your house, maybe for what?
Infrastructure.
Infrastructure. Yes, that's the word. Yes, but all in all, you have nothing to worry about in terms of land expropriation. Yes. Yeah. Still need to learn the pronunciation of all these words. If you've got your title deed, that's your property that you own. There's no land. You shouldn't fear any land grabs. It's yours. They'll have. It's yours. You pay for it.
I have a question to ask. So what happens if you buy a property
Yes.
on a full title?
Yes.
Okay. And then the council determines that they're going to relocate homeless people from one area to another, and the value of your property all of a sudden goes from being 5 million to you can't sell anything because you've now got squatters on the end of your street. How do you then do that? Because how are you now trying to make money and pay your bond?
Okay, so your question is, you've got your house for 5M, and next to your house, there's squatters.
The municipality have now resettled homeless people on land, empty land next to a property.
Alright, so the municipality would not be resettling, for example, shacks next to that. It will be houses that will be built.
Shacks.
Actual shacks.
Then those shacks are not legal shacks.
The municipality put them there.
No, they put themselves there. That's how Alex started.
The Red Ants supervise their implementation and movement.
Okay, we're just gonna need to look into that. Usually people just come and start there. That's how Alex started. People just started building, and then it grew and grew and grew. But there's RDP projects that are supposed to be implemented properly, so those will be proper houses.
Million houses.
So those will be illegal houses built in there, because you have to have ownership of the land. Oh yes, yes.
Audrey, you referenced the quote quite often in that speech. Don't wait to buy real estate, buy real estate and wait. Can you explain
what you mean by that.
Okay, so property increases in value as time goes on. It's
Well,
not like when you buy.
Depending on your area, but yes.
And the relocation of squatters.
Yeah.
Depending on depending on your area, and people will always need a place to stay. And if you, I travel a lot, and if you look around, there's too many shacks in our country, and everybody needs proper housing. Therefore, looking into the future, there will be where proper houses will be built, and there is billions of people that need housing. Therefore, you can't go wrong with building property because people will always need a place to stay. And when we talk about waiting, is how long, if you've bought your property today, it's not going to increase in value immediately. It's only over time that I bought my property 10 years ago at 250,000. Today my property will be worth 650,000, for an example.
So would you recommend then buying your home for yourself and perhaps looking to sell it one day when the kids have left the home and you're going to downsize and make some money out of it? Or would you recommend buying the real estate so that you can rent it out and possibly then have people who don't pay, who mess it up, who don't leave, who squat, who live for free? No, well,
Yes, that's true though, those are the realities.
I just want to understand the investment. Are you investing for yourself? Are you investing to make money eventually, or in the moment if you bought four places and we're looking to rent them out, and how are you sort of protected from that? If you're putting in that investment, but you might not be getting that return back, and so a lot of people are hesitant to be doing those things in a country that's got no laws that properly protect people.
So are you talking about for myself, if I were?
Well, if I'm your customer and I want to come and spend money at your organization and I'm as pessimistic in this particular moment as I am, what would you say to me to sort of build that trust to say, well, Mandy, there are these avenues you can go down in? Because otherwise people are not going to invest in this country due to our lack of support.
Sorry, you want to answer that afterwards?
Yeah.
Close.
Can I just answer just a little bit and finish it? So, like I explained, we will look at what you prefer. So both ways would work, because before we can put a tenant into your property, we'll do that vetting, we even do criminal checks, credit checks, all the checks that we need to do. And we found people that sometimes we even ask for their bank statements and they don't want to give that to us. Then we don't want to work with you because you are hiding something. We don't want headaches in the future. Things like that. You can rent it out. And obviously we don't want to go the route where we're going to evict people. So before we put somebody in your property, we want to make sure that these are the right people that are going to be trustworthy and honest and ethical.
Still working, I wanted to really say thank you for that information. I think it will benefit us here, and all the questions, that was really good. Before we move on with our program, pro cats against these bloodsuckers. I wanted to get my word right. Croquettes. Did I say it right? But at least I said it twice. If we don't take an action about these bloodsuckers called ticks and fleas on our animals, we are going to have the problems. Few problems, as I mentioned, about what fleas can do to your animal, but these are what ticks can do on your animal. Infection. Dogs may sometimes develop an allergic reaction when a tick is attached on its skin. Also, if you try to pull the tick out of your dog. This is one of the old technique or skill that people get used when they see a tick on their animals, they try to pull. What happens, the head of the tick, it still remains in your animal. You take only the body, but the head remains. And what is going to happen now, that head will continue going deeper and deeper and deeper in your dog. And it's going to cause a skin problem. You have to make sure that you use the right prevention techniques. You have to use your front line. You have to use your frontline plus. You have to use your frontline spray. You have to use your nest guard. There is a lot that you can use to prevent these ticks from your dogs. They can transmit the disease as well from your dog to other dogs, to your friends' dogs and other family when those dogs they meet. And some of these infections or some of these diseases, it can be also transmitted to human, your kids and so on. Heavy tick infestations, especially in puppies and kittens, are led by serious blood loss. So due to that, the ticks, they will be sucking that blood out of your puppy. It will mean that your dog's blood is going to be not on the level it's supposed to be. When you take your dog to the vet, after the dog has been affected, what is going to happen? The vet is going to say, your puppy needs blood. And then we have to volunteer anyway to take our dogs to the vet to donate blood. Do you know that the dogs also donate blood? Move on with our program. Timekeeper, can you give us a report before we take a break, please? Give us the time report, how our speakers time. We can do it from there.
The report on all the speakers for the day. Lucinda was meant to speak for 4 to 6 minutes. Her speech was 6 minutes, 26 seconds. Andrea was 5 to 7 minutes. She spoke for 7 minutes and 37 seconds. Charlotte was meant to be 5 to 10 minutes. She spoke for 11 minutes. Audrey, the speaking part was meant to be 4 to 6 minutes. She spoke for 6 minutes, 14 seconds. And the questions and answers was 3 to 5 minutes. They lasted for 7 minutes, 25 seconds. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Anna, for that. Good report. I know that keeping time is not easy, especially when you got these people that are so motivated to speak. I usually try to stick to my time because I don't want to run out of words. So these people are so good. These people are so good. So thank you for that. We will take a break. Once we are taking a break, I think our evaluators, they will have to go out and meet and discuss. And I think our evaluation chair will be leading that meeting. I'm not sure how long we can take a break. I think we are running out of time, I'm not sure. How is it? Time. So assist me here with the time. It's about, to me it's about 12 past 11.
20 past.
20 past.
11:20.
So what time do you come back?
11:20.
11:20. Okay. So we can take a break. Let's have breakfast. 11:20. Sergeant Army will be meeting again. Thank you.
What is the voice for best speaker in Britannia?
I will do it now.
We'll collect them after.
Right.
Harold, are we going outside?
Oh,
Beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
Just really rough the shot.
Yeah, we are going to do yeah, we're going to do 3 tables. I think that's.
I'm coming. I just want to grab a cup of tea, may I?
No. Of course you can.
Quick little tea.
Do you want me to ask Sergeant Julius Sergeant my job? And would you like to ask me something? Like to tell you
How are you, my friend?
do that? Or like to I never know how people
But you know what we do is?
I just know new people
That's exactly what
You do it. But yeah,
I know, it's just as Harold, but one of the comments I made to you was you should have just closed I'm not even on yeah, I don't know. What a challenge. But I want to see your box. Is your box real? Where's your box? Where is your box? Have you put it somewhere? Yes or no? Quickly, we can, yeah. I'm just looking somewhere by this one. Okay. Sorry. What did I do wrong? Yeah, I felt really
You can see us all. I even have my jacket.
Yeah, I was like holding my arms and
I was thinking that the grammarian room would be another I mean, I wrote all
If the lady comes back on,
on my side, I don't, but the things that I want to share with you.
I've been to club the companies where the time people when they started to produce we are really taking our place and so that will test my and then also the people program was allocated that's something I noticed yeah. I thought you were supposed to be evaluating and stuff in your face.
speaking and evaluating the reports and on tabletop roles, have you
Harold, those two people that came in late, there's 5 minutes. What I need to do is register for this. That's fine, that's straight. I'll go. For your books. And they pay and tally up my cash and my clothes. And they give you some work. What else can I do? You want me to do one of your topics? Depends on what it is. So you can buy this, you can have something like that. Okay, so if you go that's my own club evaluation. I'm trying to do it.
Does anyone in the room want to do a table topic today? There are 3 slots and 3 slots only. Raise your hands. So 2 of you in already. Yeah.
If you don't have anyone else, I'll
Give
go.
me a funny one. Look at it. I'm not going to give it to a reading evaluation speaking. I want to give it to someone that hasn't. Okay. Speaking is fun. No one's spoken here.
If you start, and Josh was
Sure, someone here.
I'll wait.
One of them will
I'm going to bring your tea.
I'm going to give you, I was going to give you a table topic, but I'm going to see first that I just get around to. I've got a perfect one for you.
Me?
Yeah.
Really?
Just with actions I specifically made, tailor-made the other night in the box.
Check it out, okay? Because I left you with a nice
Fleas on dogs and cats. So, are you a veterinary are you wishing to become a veterinary surgeon?
No, I'm actually a guide dog instructor.
A what?
A guide dog instructor.
Oh, okay. So there's the interest in it all. So I'm going to look, 2 people have already asked you to have something. So we're going to hang with 3 because we really are going out of time. This morning we're a little late. So 2 people are already set in. I've got 1 more spot going. I want someone that hasn't spoken yet today. So is there anyone that's a guest here? Would you like a spot at all? Would you like a table topic impromptu?
Wow, thank you for that. I think next time maybe.
The offer.
You're good. Okay, so we've got 3. Zing, zing, zing. So,
We do have someone who would like.
then that's 4. We've already got 2 from the club.
I'll forfeit mine. I'll forfeit.
Do you want to forfeit?
Yeah. She hasn't spoken today. I've spoken too much, Harold tells me.
No, not really. And for my sins, I'm a medical rep in veterinary. So I deal with the
Ticks and fleas.
ticks and fleas, and I've actually just done a big crate in the back of a cow's behind, like that size, from a tick bite. So oozy, nice and lovely and pussy. Negative ramification of ticks. So I see that every single day of my life is this kind of conversation, because I see theatre and I see the insides and outsides of veterinary. Yes, so I get to see, it's lovely coming after my non-day job into my Saturday to discuss veterinary further. So thank you, Toastmaster, for that. I've got a question. I'm going to look through the questions and I'm going to choose them very carefully. Okay, my big question. This is going in right away, because I've got a huge controversial thing on social media at the moment about the flick and the T's, the ticks and the flea medicines that go around. So first up, would you like to join me? He's not putting his head down. Would you like to join me? You first up.
I'm first up, okay.
What is your name? Adrian. Adrian. So Adrian, what is your opinion on Brevector and NexGard tick treatment pills causing animal deaths? Adrian, what is your opinion on Brevector, NexGard?
Now I must confess, I haven't a clue what Brevector and NexGard is all about, but I do have my own personal way of getting rid of T's and flicks, which I'll tell you about now. Now, fleas and ticks are animals, and what are we?
Animals.
There you go. And if ticks get on you, by the way, I'm going to back a bunk next Monday there, so I know I'm going to be in the bush, and I know I'm going to get ticks when I walk in the grass, and I know fleas are going to get on me. Now, the way I go about doing these things. So there's an action from the fleas to you, reciprocal action. I reciprocate, that's 3 times, by devising ways of killing fleas and ticks. And Adrian method number 1 is, if one gets on your leg, you just go, boom. Now you've got to be very careful, because if they get into your skin, you must remember the fact that your tick may be dead, but it may be carrying tapeworm larvae. And what happens if a tapeworm larvae gets into your system? They start to get at your intestines, and you may die. So that's why you've really got to kill that tick. And fleas are easy. Fleas are pretty easy. You just get yourself
can you name a tick spray for me, or fleece spray?
Frontline.
Frontline, I strongly advise, because I'm an expert here and knows all about fleas there. So that's the way life is. If you're attacked by something which is a tiny little animal, reciprocate by hitting back. Thank you.
What I forgot to say for those that don't know is that the table topic session is lights, please. The table topic session is 1 to 2 minutes. 1 minute green, 1.5 is what they call amber, which I call orange or yellow, and red, which is 2 minutes. So you'll just watch over there and you'll see it. Am I really only allowed 2 more? I've already got another good one. Okay, Mandy, please can I just do one more?
Yeah.
Who's running with her? Mandy. She doesn't know about ticks and fleas. Enact a night episode of tick bite fever. Mandy, with enact a night of tick bite fever.
Thank you, Madam Topics Master. So when I read the word enact, I'm assuming I need to act. And you know what, my brother was 5, and he got bitten by a tick, and he got tick bite fever, and my parents rushed him to the hospital, only to discover at the age of 5 that he was allergic to penicillin. So he swelled up. He was already quite a roundish kind of guy, but he swelled up to that, and he had tick bite fever, but it actually had left little black dots all over him. And then I decided a good idea was to throw the hosepipe over the wall, because it was fairly long, and I was very, very little and skinny, and I could easily get up the hosepipe and pop over the wall, and I thought it might be a good idea for the little Oros, tick-bitten, poor allergic to antibiotics, penicillin, to climb up the wall, and as he did, the hosepipe came tumbling down, and so did he, and he broke his arm. So if I'm enacting an episode of the tick bite fever, I'm explaining to you my poor brother that looked like an Oros man with little ticks all over him and landed up with a broken arm. So I suggest use Frontline. Please come to Permit. He knows all about these things. I think he's going to start an online shop and avoid ticks, because it can cause absolute chaos, and tick bite fever I think is very dangerous and can be a terrible thing to suffer. And don't come to me if you have it, because I will damage you more. Thank you.
You see what you've done to this place today. Toastmaster. Whew! It's been a question time to come into. Who else was that? You've asked to come up. Oh. You have you had a change of mind? Women, are we allowed to change our mind? Or would you like to join us?
It's a safe place to make yourself a fool, isn't it?
No, you're not going to you're not going to Sorry, your name? Nandi. Nandi, I've got a question for you. What in your life would you like to produce as fast as ticks breed? What would in your life would you like to produce as fast as ticks breed? Nandi.
Thank you, Topic Master. My name is Nandi. It's my first time ever talking. I would like to wake up. My first thought when Topic Master gave me the topic is money. I would like to produce as much money every day. And every day, when I wake up, when I speak, when I breathe, I thought money would be the first thing. But as I thought about it, I realized that more love is actually what I would like to do every second and every minute, as much as the ticks produce eggs.
not least, would you like to join me?
Sure.
Huh?
Naren.
Naren. Your question is, why would you prefer to lead an army of fleas rather than animals? Naren? Why would you prefer to lead an army of fleas rather than humans?
I'm not sure it was a good idea for me to volunteer myself for this. So, thank you, Table Topics Master, and this is my first time as well coming here and talking about it. But the question is very simple, that why would I prefer to lead the army of fleas than human? So, a lot of time it always comes when you're leading human, you also hear a lot of good ideas and bad ideas, right? And when you're leading and when you have a vision, sometimes you realize that a lot of people are not aligned with your vision and trying to go towards that direction. When you are looking at, and which is the good and bad, again it has a pros and cons to that angle. And those ideas are good when you think that your vision has some kind of ambiguity. But if your vision is clear and you want everybody to just follow rather than reciprocate of your feeling, then it's better to follow it. So, and that sometimes becomes an issue. But if you have an army of fleas, the assumption is that they will not be really coming up with the different ideas, or they will be just following or looking at your vision and following through that one. So it's if I have to have a simple reason, I will say that just lead the army of fleas than the humans, because then they understand better your vision rather than coming up with their own challenges. Thank you.
And that comes to the end of my reciprocation session. Not the birds and the bees, but the fleas and the ticks, or the flicks and the teas, however we want to put it. And at the end of the day, with reciprocation, we come to, I don't know how we reciprocated. We don't know how we, lights? I don't know how we have a positive spin-off or reciprocation when it comes to humans and the ticks and the fleas. That I can't work out. I've been working on all morning how am I going to bring this into it, but I can't. Because for me, they just suck off us, and I don't see a positive spin-off for us humans having them around. My solution is get yourself defeed and detect. Go to your local pharmacy. If you can't, then go to your local veterinarian and ask them for some frontline or whatever it is that can satisfy your skin needs so that you can keep them away or eat a lot of garlic. Thank you. I return it back to the Toastmaster.
Thank you very much, Madam Table Toastmaster. I think, did I say it right? But you did a fantastic job. You made my job easy. We will hand over that straight to the evaluation chair to take over so that you are not going to be behind time.
Toastmaster, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for the opportunity to chair the session for you today. The lectern is very high, and we will go straight into the evaluation. As I indicated earlier, we have speakers and evaluators, and they will be reciprocating each other. So each speaker will evaluate the other one. The first reciprocating pair were Charlotte and Lucinda. And Lucinda spoke first. So we're going to ask Charlotte to come up and give her evaluation of Lucinda's presentation. Please welcome Charlotte.
Apologies, Mr. President. We thought we had to do between us and not.
Lucinda, breaking point. You are an absolute natural as a speaker and motivator and a supporter. Absolutely natural. It's something that it's almost as if you've been doing it all your life. Your intention in stepping into this space is to make an impact, and that comes across very beautifully. Your creativity and practical use of us was quite amazing and awesome for us to experience. I don't think any of us are going to look at us again, especially come summer. We're going to remember you, not ticks and fleas. Your research and analogy to life and love's pain and comforts, the opposites, was beautiful, because I think every single person in this room identified with that, beautifully so. And your summary as a metaphor was beautiful, because it brought everybody into the room together and being human. The items to work on is possibly, because the topic was about an icebreaker for yourself, and I know that most of the people here already know you, so we already heard Lucinda's introduction of who she is. It would have been great to have had a little bit more of you in that space, of you supporting you and sharing how you related in that moment, and possibly expand just a little bit there. And the one thing you really want to challenge yourself on is the vocal variety, so that you have the impact that your content has got can have a little bit more impact with. Yes, we will. So Lucinda, awesome. You met all your objectives and purpose beautifully. Thank you.
Our second speaker is Andrea, and to give us the evaluation of your speech, please welcome Audrey.
Can you take it away, please? Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Evaluation Chair. Fellow Toastmasters, special regards to Andrea. Wow, what a powerful speech. I loved your voice projection. Clearly hear you, and your voice was powerful. Which topic was about leadership. Very close to our hearts, very close to what Toastmasters is all about, where leaders are made. Your introduction, my favorite, which tied in very well with your conclusion as well, one of my favorite, because you started with a question. What makes a good leader? Immediately all of us were engaged and we wanted to answer that question in our heads. And when she concluded her speech, she asked, what is your leadership style? And that tied in very well, because throughout her speech, she gave a list of different leadership styles. In the middle of her speech, she asked a question again about leadership. So if there was somebody in the audience whose mind was wandering, still thinking about this leadership style, it quickly brought back their attention to what the topic was about. Another very important thing that she did was ask another question at the end, what is your credibility gap? Which was a great takeaway for all of us. At the end of her speech, we had to all ask ourselves, since I've identified myself with all these different types of leaders, where can I improve? I also loved the fact that you asked the audience to participate in your speech. They put up their hands and they answered some of your questions. What I would love to see you improve on, maybe a few suggestions that you can work on, is like myself now, instead of having your notes here and reading some of your pointers, you could have cue cards. And that will help you also have eye contact with all your audience, because I thought at some point we were losing that connection with you because your eyes were focused on your notes, which is one thing that I wish you could improve that. That is your one area of improvement. And another suggestion would be to keep your pointers to a rule of 3. There's power in using 3 because it helps us remember. Perhaps you could have only chosen 3 types of leaders that you could have discussed. There's quite a lot of them and you couldn't remember all of them. With those leaders, I would have wished you could identify as well what your leadership style is and what your credibility is, so we can get to know you a little bit more. Overall, congratulations on your wonderful speech. Your voice is powerful. We could clearly hear you. You had brilliant examples on leadership and you've engaged your audience very well. Congratulations. I look forward to your next speech.
Next was Charlotte, and to evaluate her speech, welcome Sandra.
Evaluation chair. Hello, chair, ladies and gentlemen. Can you see me? Especially for Charlotte. This really was not the easiest project to choose, and I think especially for you, and you know it. And you had your list, as we do in our projects, and as I always do, I choose the most difficult and challenging for myself, and you did exactly that yourself too. You like to test and challenge yourself. And for that, I absolutely honor you for taking on this particular project. Not everybody is okay with people getting annoying and the comments and the things flying around. Some of us just want to make our point, get up, leave, and leave the room. So we get chipped at and chipped on, and it goes and it goes and it goes. It kind of ticks at that level of our frustration levels. And that is what one could see in the beginning of your actual speech. Now, I'm not here to do the speech. I'm here to do what I noted and the objections and how you dealt with that. At first, it was irritating to you, and then you realize that, hold on, I've really got to get on top of this. And you could see yourself make that flick, that breaking point, that flick from the ice to the warm. You could see that in your speech. Is that you got to a point where you realize, whoa, I've got to work with these guys. Because at first with Adrian, you were like, at Adrian, about, his comment, and you're only allowed one objection. In Toastmasters, we're not allowed to say things like that in our speeches, even if the time lights are wrong, or this podium is meant to be out the way and it's in my way. You have to actually just leave everything and carry on with your speech like everything's perfect. So I could see that, and I could understand that people maybe weren't briefed the way they needed to be for your particular speech, because it is a very specific kind of speech, and that's why I spent as an evaluated time going through to everybody explaining what they had to look for in your speech, so they didn't evaluate you on your speech, but on the response reaction of your audience. As I have told you already, to challenge yourself, create some scenarios within your work, as your workshops you're doing, where people are going to be disruptive and difficult, and you can then work with that. It's something to work on. It's something for us all to work on. I mean, I've got a flip switch like, and Andrea will tell you, I've got a flip switch like anything. If somebody gets on my case a bit much, I just blow. So it's something that I will eventually, I'm on your path, I will choose that as one of my projects.
We don't have a choice, by the way.
Oh, lovely. Oh, am I blessed? Manny's objection, you dealt with me really well. You asked the questions. You got her to come into it, instead of being the ice, sitting here, you got her to start actually thinking, becoming cognitive, and to bring her in and to diffuse the conflict in that particular situation. So that was really, really well done. And I've got to tell you that what we do as Toastmasters, we are here to grow and to learn. And that is what we're here to do, and that's exactly what you did. And once you found your power and strength in your speech today, I could see, wow, I wish we could just start at that point and have finished at a later stage and given you a couple more minutes to finish.
Well done.
Yes, Andrea, you're on for. You're going to talk about Audrey.
Speech.
Thank you, Audrey.
Thank you. Master, what's it? Contest chair. Not contest chair. Evaluator, master evaluator. Audrey, great opportunity to reciprocate on your evaluation of me. Thank you for your speech. I haven't actually, I'm still competing on the legacy module, so I haven't seen this before. So it was very interesting to note that they had something like this in the module. Just to go back and look at, one of the things that you had to do was to identify a crisis, okay, and to respond to a crisis. Based on that, you identified our current economic situation as a crisis. I had to listen carefully for it, but it was there, okay? And I think not everybody was very sure on whether it were what the actual crisis was, but it is the rising cost of living, which you mentioned more than once, and obviously the economic crisis, and obviously after elections things are going to go up. Before elections things are still a little fine, but now they take the opportunity to now mark things up. I also looked at some of the questions that they asked me to look at were, how convincing were you at explaining your position? I thought you were very clear in explaining buying before the election so that you had the opportunity to capitalize on lower rates and lower prices rather than after elections when the pricings were going to go up. So you were very clear in your speech on that. Okay? How effectively did the speaker communicate and create and maintain a positive image? You were here, you were confident, you were comfortable, you moved around a bit, you moved back to the center when you answered a question or when you felt you finished, you claimed your stage. So I like the fact that you actually had the presence to just be comfortable in front of people. How did you relate to your questions and answer session, your Q&A? Okay? You were comfortable, you were polite, and you were informative. You addressed some of the people, okay, and in a very informative way. And even though we ran out of time, you asked, can I finish you wanted to. Okay? So I admire that, and because a lot of us see the green light go, done, I'm off my stage and I can run, which is not obviously the purpose of Toastmasters, is to communicate and learn to communicate correctly. Okay? The things that I think you could possibly have worked on was your eye contact, because you have a tendency to skim. Okay? We look and focus so that I know that you've seen me look at you, you've seen me look at you, not just I'm looking and glancing, but I'm not actually resting on anyone specific, which is a mistake that a lot of people do. Okay? And I think something that else, your title was Toastmasters will always need a place to meet. Okay? And I was trying to figure out where, because you spoke about the home, everyone needs a home to live in, okay? And you mentioned that you were in the housing market, the residential market. Okay? So I didn't quite get the clarity until just before you started your conclusion. So I think those are the two things to look at. But overall, I liked your presentation, I liked your topic, and it was food for thought. Okay, well done. Thank you very much.
Sorry, what was that?
No, I always get confused. Contest chair. We've got so many competitions through lately. It's contest chair, evaluation chair.
I thought you just called me Fred. Well, when the area director is quite finished, we'll carry on. Well, one of the complaints we had with the club earlier in the year, or last year, I can't remember, was about evaluations, and we changed our approach to evaluations, and we're trying different things, because a lot of people get quite upset when someone evaluates them and says something that they weren't expecting. So we've been trying where the speaker and the evaluator meet, and it seems to have been successful. And I think our 4 speakers and evaluators today fell in very well with that scheme and gave us 4 very good evaluations on 4 very good speeches. I'd just like to give them a round of applause. We have a few more reports in the evaluation session. I'd like to start off with the grammarian, and Mandy, would you give us your grammarian report, please?
Thank you, Mr. President. Due to time constraints, I've just chosen 4 of out of the speakers, the good use of the English language, something that attracted me. I do have a whole list of more. If anybody can read my disgusting handwriting, you may go through it. There was some poor use of the English language, which I was going to offer suggestions for, but again, time constraints, we are not going to do that. Lucinda, I enjoyed the realm that feels like ice. I enjoyed that from you. Wait, I better find I've written things all over the place. Andrea, deemed as great leaders, bound by greatness. Really enjoyed that. Charlotte, you had loads and loads, but without a shadow of a doubt. I know there's a song with that line in, and I think I can hear it in my head, but it's a beautiful saying. Audrey, not always milk and honey, you win some, you lose some. I really enjoyed that. The word of the day, when I chose this word, I thought it's a relatively hard word to use in a sentence. And I didn't expect anybody to really come up with anything. I myself didn't use the word except when I introduced it. But Permit, Adrian, Narine, Lucinda, Harold, and Andrea used it. So well done. I think when I chose this word, it was also to, besides adding a word into your vocabulary, was also to remind us in a non-verbal way to reciprocate in kindness, in love, with gestures. So thank you. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, ma'am. Lisa, would you like to give us the our counter?
Thank you, Mr. President. The R counter, okay, I said it. The R again. I need to get myself together. Our counter report is as follows. Permit, arms and R's as 19. Arms and R's.
19.
19. Lucinda, 2 arms and arm. Andrea, it's 8. Okay. Audrey,
Okay.
1 arm. Charlotte, 1 arm. Anne, 1 arm. Adrian, 1 arm. Mandy, 2 souls.
So,
1 arm. Naren, 4 souls.
it's contagious.
That will be all.
Thank you very much. Remind me to pay you for not mentioning Mike. Thank you. We have the timekeeper's report. Would you give us the timekeeper's report for the table topics and the evaluations, please?
Thank you, Mr. President. Table topics were meant to be 1 to 2 minutes. The times were Adrian, 2 minutes and 5 seconds. Mandy, 1 minute, 36 seconds. Nandi, 46 seconds. Narine, 1 minute, 26 seconds. The evaluators were meant to be 2 to 3 minutes. Charlotte, you were 1 minute. 42 seconds. Audrey, you were 3 minutes 19 seconds. Lucinda, 3 minutes 26 seconds. And Andrea, 3 minutes 24 seconds. Thank you very much.
I'm going to ask you to do the voting for best speaker, best evaluator, best table topics. Put them on a piece of paper and our sergeant will collect them. And I will give you a minute just to do that quickly. Does anybody need me to remind them of rules we to the participants were?
Sorry.
Maybe
Maybe just the impromptu people.
the impromptu people was Adrian,
Yeah.
eating back at the fleas.
I want to see who they are. Maybe they can stand.
Yeah, no, I've got Adrian.
Okay.
Mandy was enacting a flea.
Yes, got that one.
Nandi was producing money instead of fleas.
Yes.
And
Never.
Naren was leading an army of
Oh, okay, thanks.
Waiting the birds out. Going.
No, just the top names. Marina says she wins. I've actually counted them. Those are the most numbers of them. Okay.
Adrian and Tambu indicate. I will carry on.
That's a speaker. That's I know I rented that one.
This tabletop. Just put this tabletop. And this one tabletop.
Mr. Toastmaster?
Yes.
Check, because this says generally evaluation, and that's the name, we don't read it.
Those are my tables.
You're right, sir. Happy. I won't say happy. Ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to the end of the evaluation session. And I take great joy in handing you back to our Toastmaster to wrap up the meeting today. Please welcome.
Thank you, Mr. President. It was a really an honor for me. This is my second time to be Toastmaster, but I did that about a year ago, so I've forgotten everything. But thank you for the opportunity, and thank you very much to all the speakers and table topics master. That was amazing that you put the theme of the day and the impromptu that worked perfectly. It covered some of my theme that I wanted to put in. So, being said that, I will welcome the President to wrap up all the meeting for today. Thank you.
Only a second time. Let's give him a hand. Two things left on the agenda. The first one is on a point, where we get to express anything we want to say about the meeting or any other announcements that we have. And the second is the awards. I'll start with on a point. Anybody want to raise anything or say anything about the meeting? I'm sure our division director will have something to say. Please, Audrey, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. Next week, Wednesday, 15th of May, is our division contest. That means the winners from all our 5 areas will be competing. From that night, the winner will go to the district contest, which will be from the 16th through to I invite everyone to come and join our division contest and support our members and also get to network with like-minded people. Thank you, Mr. President.
Anyone else?
Ask the venue and time.
Yes, forgot about that. It will be at PwC at Mall of Africa. Okay, so we'll...
That funny twisted building.
Yes.
6 o'clock.
6 p.m. Yes. We should be able to send the invite to all the clubs. I'm sure the invite has already gone out.
I think Ines did send it out.
Yes, I'm sure he did.
And then did send it to our club members. Anything else? Or anything else? Yes, sir.
So immediately after the division contest is our con, Maycon, which is happening at Tower Echo, that's on the side south. And for all the members that are invited, you can register and attend and listen to good speeches from the whole district. Zimbabwe, Namibia, Swaziland, everybody will be there. So it's time for you to grow and learn from the speakers. Then for the hour on as well, the committee members, we also need the committee members to attend. But then if you are not able to do that, you can then allocate the prox so that I can vote on your behalf. Whatever I choose will stand for the club and for the area.
Thanks, Ines. Anybody else? First time visit? Want to give us some feedback on the meeting?
Something.
Okay.
Just anything.
Thank you. I think I enjoyed this meeting. I enjoyed the speeches, the theme, the prompt speeches. But I think initially when you started, the meeting was a bit disorganized. For example, we had long breaks that I think were not necessary when we were looking for ballot paper. Yes, ballot paper, things like that. But overall speaking, I think it was a good meeting and I look forward to attending.
Thank you very much. Point taken. IEC or not. You'd like to give us feedback on the meeting? Two of you, both of you?
It's still too early to tell from my side, but like the few points that he mentioned, maybe because I was late, so I was also all over the place, so I can't fault you on that. So
You were also all over the place.
yes, I was also all over the
Interesting.
Okay. Well, I quite enjoyed it. It's quite an interesting situation that you guys have here, and you can learn quite a bit from it. So actually looking forward to joining your next meeting, seeing how things go when things are flowing a little bit more, let's say, smoothly. Let's go smoothly. But I quite enjoyed it,
I
yes.
also look forward to that one of these days.
Jackie?
No, not to be country, but I quite like the fact, and maybe it's because I'm incorporated art, I quite like the fact that it was slightly disorganized, and I just felt at peace here. And I think when things run so regimental-like, it's stressful. So I quite enjoyed the fact that it wasn't perfect. It felt like kind of welcoming. I wasn't uncomfortable. I don't think it was that disorganized that people wanted to tear their hair out. And I did say not to be contrary to everyone who wanted the organized thing. I just didn't mind it like that.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I tell you, I haven't torn my hair out for years. And we get a chance to get to the names. I think you also went early. No.
No, he just looks like he's looking at the wrong person.
She's just ruined the whole thing.
Hi everyone, my name is Cindy Le. This is the third time that I'm visiting the club from the Victoria President Club, but I've just moved to Bronx. And for me the meeting was okay, but I felt like today energy levels were a bit low compared to the other 2 times which I visited. Otherwise, I'm enjoying it. And yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much. Anybody else?
Just to add something, Mr. President, I think I agree because I thought maybe most of the people. I think I was also, I felt not really motivated. I think to me what affected me most is to not seeing the President Breakfast Toastmasters. Our members were so few that I was looking forward to see most of them playing these roles. You know, so that it's already, it makes me feel like a little bit down when I see the members were not here. I know I also sometimes disappear for months, but I felt like what I felt, that's exactly I think when I'm not here how my my other Toast fellow masters is happening to them. That's how I felt it. I agree with him.
Will you talk to them, please?
Maybe I must go back to my role there, to Vice President of Membership. And then I can be a president.
Adrian.
Yeah, just for your information, we currently have 15 paid-up members. And towards the end of the last session there, we had about 26, I think, paid-up members.
Yeah.
So we've dropped numbers quite considerably.
How many of the 15 are here today?
I think I counted 6. 1, 2, 3.
So Permanent's point, exactly.
Exactly, yes.
6, 7.
So why do you lose members at that rate?
You need to do an exit interview. Your secretary needs to do an exit interview.
Well, we've spoken to most of them. Most of them it's either work commitments, maybe finances, some of them. Change in personal circumstances.
Some of them had met their goals already.
Yes,
Some of them joined in order to prepare for a big
Specific.
Are they always on the weekend?
No.
This club,
This club is, but you can go to other clubs on other nights.
No, I would say it's easier for people to lose, it's easier for your club who operates on a weekend to lose less members. It should be like that.
That's what we thought, yeah.
Because during the week it is tough. It's very tough. But on the weekend it should be a bit easier.
That's what we thought, yeah. But, I mean, the last meeting, I think just about every paid-up member attended, except Adrian was away. I think everybody was here. So, I don't know why.
I think every club has got its target market. There's some people that can make it on a Saturday, there's some that can make it during the week. So this time is perfect for whoever attends. every time is perfect for whoever, because you've got different people who schedule their lives differently. Those that leave is for their own personal reasons, but I don't think it's got anything negative to do with the club. The club is well run. It's everybody's friendly. People are giving valuable feedback. There's lovely breakfast. So it's got nothing to do with the club. Is that person available on a Saturday or not? Does Saturday work for them or not? For me personally, Saturday doesn't work for me, but I'm at Toastmasters during the week. I was invited today and I came today. Yes, so.
You're invited to 100th as well.
Yes, I know. But Saturdays are very difficult for me. But
I think maybe also to add to that, thank you very much, Audrey, is it's essential to remember that this is not a compulsory thing. This is a personal journey for everyone. And this is a volunteer thing. The committee members are volunteers. The club members are volunteers. They pay to be here. So I would imagine if someone hasn't made it this morning, it's not because they don't value their money or that they don't value their club. It means something that is a bigger priority for today has come up.
Yeah,
and I think as a club we try and leave it open and not be legalistic and say you have to be at every single meeting, but to allow people to journey at their own pace. Speaking is a difficult thing for many people. It takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot of courage just to be here, knowing they're going to be asked to even introduce themselves. So we try and also allow people to feel comfortable, to be able to come when they can, and not to say, you haven't been for 6 meetings, do you not value your money, what's wrong? We will follow up and say, we'd love to see you, we miss you. But at the end of the day, it is also up to each member to step up to the plate and understand what their goal is and come and meet halfway.
See what you started now.
Yes, I do.
Which is good. But no, very good points raised. Thank you, everybody. And I think we've answered some of what you said. It's difficult to know all the reasons why. And yeah, at the end of the day, as Tambu says, people, it's adults that you're dealing with and sort themselves out as well. Or come when they're ready.
Sorry, can I just say one thing? It's going to be very short. Okay, President, when you choose for the year, word of the year, okay, that word of the year is going to challenge you till the bitter end. You chose agility.
Yes.
I've been in my second meeting where it could have been a catastrophe. Things went all over the show. But it's actually even for your visitors, guests, everyone coming in to pull together and to just make it a great meeting. You know, we're here, we can breathe, we're not sitting in some ICU. It's a big family. When I come in, I take it as my responsibility in your club too, to give the best I can to your club. So
I've seen that, thank you
I really think that it's like there's no perfection. I mean, you know, the club I'm in, we run it pretty tight, and for some people that's hell of a scary, you know, it's really, you know, quite structured. And this club is agility is the thing. This club is like that. They do things differently, they try new things, very accommodating, very warm, very loving. It's a really beautiful club. And, you know, when things go upside down, we just make a plan, you know. We all just pull in club in and make a success of it and make it. Yeah, the energy wasn't as upbeat, but you know what, in life, the next time they have a really upbeat meeting, they're all going to be so happy and joyful. So, you know, life, there's death, there's life, there's all the different polarities.
That was quite long.
For Lucinda, it's short. Okay. Thank you very much. Let me get onto some awards. Best Evaluator of the Day. It's a tie between Lucinda and Andrea. Mandy, you want to take it?
We just break it in half. You take the bottom, I take the top. This is us.
I'll do that. Do that again, do that.
Yeah.
Come on, let's be different.
Don't shake.
Do you want the forward one now?
Okay, let's do Brian's still correct.
Oh. Hello, Andrea, I'm here. Stop checking your hubby out.
Stop checking in.
Thank you.
Well done. Best table topics for the day. Can't give you the best speaker award. I'll give you that one. Right, would you do that drum roll again, please? Ray. Anna, photograph.
Is it formal? Oh, it's so serious.
No.
Oh!
It's obviously not a floating trophy.
Before the best speaker of the day, we got this new award at our 100. It's called the Mug of the Day. And it's to be done. It was donated by Dave Cairns and Martin Foran. And it's to someone who had a funny comment, a silly comment, or something odd. And we still haven't quite decided how we're going to award this. We're meant to discuss it in a committee meeting. In the meantime, the president will decide. And I heard something very funny today. I heard poor old Leon talking about how he gets picked on by two women. So I'm going to give it to the same two women who've just been at me.
Should we give it to Leon?
No.
He's the mug
Dude, if you put it on, put beer in it, you can drink the beer, you'll feel better.
No, I'll save something for you much later.
Actually, why not tequila? Jack Daniels?
So there you go.
Thank you.
There we go. You can hold
Oh, yeah, baby.
That's a nice show.
Later.
And we also have this thing called the Genie of the Day, which the president gives to someone who contributed or did something for the meeting. Today I'm going, you know what, I'll just give it to Lucinda because she just helped with everything today. I won't let you come and have another photograph because I'm sure you can. There we go.
Cool.
That's better. Without me in it. Best speaker of the day. Drum roll, please. Let's just give it to Lucinda.
It's a real reciprocation.
Wait.
Wait.
Okay, got it.
Ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to the end of the meeting. I think we are running a bit late. Apologies, not only were we disorganized, we're late as well. Please remember this meeting because we will improve in future. I hereby call the meeting closed.
You know, I've started so many things without I'm trying to change.
everyone for being late.
Great time.
Thank you.
Come again.
Thank you so much.
How many give we
What's the break on session?
Stop that.